Welcome on into Second Round Syndrome, your talk for the Philadelphia 76ers and the NBA. I'm your host, DJ Sports Zone. With me is my co-host, Hav Harris. How's it going, dude?
What's up, brother? Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Christmas came early because as a Philadelphia sports fan, it's holly jolly here. You got the Philadelphia Eagles who have made the playoffs. They have clinched the NFC East, which hasn't happened in 20 years. You have the Dallas Cowboys who are missing the playoffs for their second straight season. Love that. And then you have VJ Max wide open with the Philadelphia 76ers. They are 16-11, fourth place in the Eastern Conference. And since our last episode, they've won 3 of their last 4 games. So the 76ers are looking really good right now. And in the last 2 games, Joel Embiid has not played. He's been dealing with illness and he's been out with right knee management. But Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, they've just been so dominant, right? And it all started, in my opinion, with that win over the Emirates NBA Cup champions, New York Knicks. By the way, I'm going to keep ringing that for the rest of the season because we'll have more conversations about the NBA Cup, but I think it's pointless. The game itself was fun, and we'll get into that. But they were able to beat the Knicks, and then the Dallas Mavericks, who are not a great team this year. Cooper Flagg has been playing a lot better than he did in the beginning of the season when they were trying to make him a point guard, which I thought was bizarre at the time. But they've just been playing so well, and it's been great to see. But before we do that, before we break into the game specifically, today's topic is all about excuses. And there's just a huge difference from being a Philadelphia sports fan and interacting with all different fans of the NFL and the NBA, all different teams. There's just a difference between every single fan base. There are some similarities, but after the win against the Knicks, there was a lot of people who hopped into my comment section because if you didn't know, I do reactions on Sixers and Eagles games on DJ Sports Zone. Make sure to check that out on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. But after that win, Knicks fans were trying to say, hey, we lost, but it was only because we played it back-to-back after the NBA Cup game. Same reason the Dallas Cowboys fans, after the Eagles win over the Washington Commanders, were jumping into my comment section saying, hey, I'm not kidding. This was a legitimate comment from a Cowboys fan. They said, you might have clinched the playoffs. You might have clinched the division. You might have set recent history, but at least the Cowboys have a better record in the division. And me as an Eagles fan, I was like, are you serious? Like, you're trying to find a reason to put the Cowboys on a pedestal because of a division record, right? And same thing with the Knicks. After the loss, their excuse was, well, we had a back-to-back. We played against the Pacers the night before the Sixers. The Pacers aren't a good team. And I know it was a close game. I know Jalen Brunson won that game, but they were missing players. They didn't have their full roster during that Pacers game. Everyone played for the Knicks, minus like Miles McBride and Landry Shamet. But their whole roster, they played against the Sixers, right? On the other hand, the Sixers haven't had Trendon Watford. They haven't had Kelly Oubre. But most importantly, Joel Embiid didn't play in that game. So it's very amusing to me that New York Knicks fans try to find excuses. Now, comparing the two sports, the Knicks are in a way better place than the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys have no hope for the future, right? They haven't won anything in a long, long time, and they're probably not going to win anything anytime soon. The Knicks, I will give them credit. They have a legitimate shot to win, to come out of the East this season, right? They're a stacked team. Jalen Brunson is that dude. But Knicks fans got pretty high after the NBA Cup, right? I remember the next morning listening to Stephen A. Smith on First Take, screaming his head off on how this is going to be a momentum shift for the New York Knicks. The NBA Cup is not a real thing, right? Maybe you could say, okay, it's a check mark, right? It's a time to see where the teams are, but it's different playing a 7-game series, right? Not just
Absolutely.
one, not just two, not just three, but winning 4 tough, brutal, exhausting 7-game series. It's just a whole different ballgame. So winning one singular game against the San Antonio Spurs, which I'm very high in the Spurs, but let's be real. If we want to use the excuse train, but I don't even know if this is an excuse. This is a general reason as to why I believe the Knicks won. I think the Knicks are a better team than the Spurs this season. Let me just be clear about that. But Victor Wembanyama, he just came back from injury and he was coming off the bench. He played like 20 minutes off the bench, right? If this is a 7-game series in the playoffs, you know Wembanyama is playing max minutes in the starting lineup and he's going all out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Let's be real about that. Let's not shy away, and it's the NBA Cup, right? And I'm kind of glad the Knicks won if my theory is true, right? And I've said this in the past, but the last 2 winners of the NBA Cup, the Los Angeles Lakers and the Milwaukee Bucks, both lost in the first round the year they won the NBA Cup. That's what happened. Okay. I don't know what's going to happen this year. I'm not, Nostradamus. I can't predict the future. I would love to sometimes. The Knicks, I think, have a decent shot just because of how wide open the Eastern Conference is. But let's not act like the NBA Cup automatically means they're winning a championship. Or let's even just say make it to the finals.
If anything, if you look at the results of the NBA Cup in the last 3, you'd more likely want to be the team that lost. If you look at Indiana lost to LA in 23.
Yep.
They used that experience. They were a young team at the time. They still are a young team, but they used that experience to bond together, get some chemistry, and then they took that into the following year and made that finals run like you just mentioned. Then who was the next year? It was the Bucks and the Thunder. The Thunder lose to the Bucks, who they say, oh, the Thunder aren't ready yet. The Bucks are the more. But if you look at the direction the Bucks and the Thunder are going, they're complete opposites. So now you look at the Thunder as a legitimate threat, and obviously the Pacers and Thunder met in the finals last year. So now you look at another young team, go like the Spurs, who everybody's saying they may not be ready yet. Young coach, when Wembanyama hasn't fully developed, and they went up against a team that has been there. The Knicks, they were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. They weren't at the finals yet, but still, it's just so ironic that maybe you want to be the team that learns how to lose in a big spot, even though it's not a playoff spot. It's played up as a playoff spot in December. Maybe it's better to not, I don't say better, you don't get the winner's check or whatever, but it may be better long-term for the team, maybe to get that loss, learn how to lose on a big stage, and then go back. And now you know what to do when you get there again.
Yeah. The NBA Cup feels like they're trying to replicate March Madness into the NBA, but it's just not how it works, right? The NBA, it momentum means everything, right? And you could see that with the Oklahoma City Thunder going through each and every series. They just kept getting better and better and better, and they were dominant from the get-go, right? But they had to face adversity against the Indiana Pacers, who could have beat them, right? If Tyrese Halliburton stayed healthy.
And they still went to 7, yeah.
Yeah, they still went to 7 games, even when he was banged up towards the end of that series before he ended up touring his Achilles. It's just a crazy scenario to me. And I want to get your thoughts on this, because the whole thing about the NBA Cup is, what do you do with the banner? The Lakers, they put up a banner. The Milwaukee Bucks, they put up a banner, which I actually didn't remember. I saw a picture of it the other day. I didn't remember they actually did that. The New York Knicks decided they weren't going to hang up a banner. The Amazon Prime showing, because they celebrated the NBA Cup, that game against the Sixers. The Amazon Prime crew, they ended up hanging the banner in their space.
Gotcha. Like almost like a mock hanging of the banner. I like that.
Right. And, they had some conversations of whether or not the Knicks should have or shouldn't have hung it up in the Garden. What are your thoughts? What do you think they should have done?
They did not hang a banner, you're saying?
They did not. It didn't happen.
Okay. I agree with that call. See, with the Lakers and the Bucks, with the Lakers, they are royalty in the NBA. So like they have a history of winning. They have a history of championships. Whatever you think of 2020, they still hung that banner recently. And the Bucks, same way. Bucks don't have the storied history the Lakers do, but they have the recent history with Giannis and his championship. So hanging a banner as a secondary accomplishment doesn't look that bad. If you're the New York Knicks, you're on the level in the pantheon of the Lakers, the Bulls, the Celtics in terms of all-time history, even though maybe you shouldn't have been because you haven't won since the 70s, but just because of the market and the Mecca and the Garden, I get it. But I kind of agree with them not to hang it because I feel like it's a lose-lose. If you hang it, you're kind of showing like, oh, we did something that really wasn't that, all that great. And then you're also telling your fans like, this is what we're settling for. Like, I kind of like the theory of like, you know what? No, we're going to go win the real banner and we'll show you we'll win when we hang that one up instead of this one. What do you think? Do you think they should have hung it?
No, I think it was, I think it was the right call. I just think it's insulting. And again, I don't like the New York Knicks, right? That's I despise them. I despise the Celtics. That's who I am. But you mentioned it with the Lakers. It would be the same thing if the Celtics won. They have such a history and they've won so many championships that it doesn't matter. It's not insulting because they won in 2020. They've had some of the greatest players of all time, whether you're talking about LeBron, whether you're talking about Kobe Bryant. So many players have come through there: Magic Johnson, Kareem, Shaq. It's not as big of a deal putting it in the crypto.com arena. The Milwaukee Bucks, I only compare it to fan bases when it comes to comparing the Bucks to the Lakers and the Knicks, because Bucks fans, they're just happy they won something.
100%.
Right. And we talked about this last episode when with Giannis trades. Bucks fans, they're happy with what they got. They were lucky to get a championship with Giannis Antetokounmpo and that roster. The fact that they were able to win something else with Giannis, with Dame, hey, Doc Rivers won something else in his career. Cool, right? Great. The Knicks, I just think it's so insulting when they haven't won a championship since 1973, which is just like insane to me. Like they've just been a joke for so long, and now they've been in contention for the last couple of years, especially since getting Jalen Brunson on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it would rub at least the NBA the wrong way. And I would think New York Knicks fans, because I think Knicks fans are very similar to Sixers fans in a way. But I think the key difference between Sixers fans, and you could talk about Eagles fans too. I think, we think the same way. I compare it to the Eagles because they just won the Super Bowl. Eagles fans, we appreciate the Super Bowls that we won, right? But we're focused on the next one, right? We're not like Cowboys fans, for example, who hold on to the same Super Bowls from 30 years ago, right? Knicks fans are not holding on to the championship from 73. Sixers fans are not holding on to the championship from 83, right? When they first announced the black jerseys, right, to celebrate the 2001 team, it's cool just because of the jerseys. But when you think of the concept, it's like we're celebrating a team that went to the finals but didn't win. Like, and that's coming from Philly sports fans.
Yeah, it sounds pretty Philly to me.
So that's just how we react. We don't like, we care that we won those Super Bowls, right? But now it's, what are they going to do this year? Oh, they're not playing well. Well, they stink. They need to fix it. We're not saying, oh, well, we won last year, so that's okay.
We're also not Knicks fans who are rushing the streets after a second round victory. You know what I mean? Like they were mobbing the streets and Tim was having a parade for just making it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Sixers fans aren't. I mean, I guess it's easy for me to say because they haven't been to the Eastern Conference Finals in so long, so we don't know how it would react. But I would like to think that the Philadelphia fan base would not be completely storming the streets after a second round. Not making it to the NBA Finals, just the Eastern Conference Finals.
I think Sixers fans would be disappointed if in the Joel Embiid era, we don't win a championship. Like it's an utter failure, the process. If during this time frame, a championship doesn't happen. I know Sixers fans like to hold, can they get past the second round? But like if they get to the Eastern Conference Finals, right, and they get swept, are Sixers fans going to be happy? I won't be.
A very small minority may be happy just because they have gotten to a place we haven't gotten in so long. But any rational fan would say, no, I'm not satisfied.
No, I mean, they need to win it all. Now, I get they're not going to win it all every single year. One team wins every year in every sport. I understand that. But again, this is the fan base that we want to win every year. right? And we're going to hold you to that standard, especially like obviously during the process when they were purposely losing games, nobody was saying they need to win this year. We knew what was going to happen, right? But now that they got the talent that they have, now that they have Joel Embiid, right? He's been an MVP. You have Paul George, a 9-time All-Star. You have Tyrese Maxey, who is looking like an MVP candidate, right? I don't think he'll win, but he'll be in that conversation.
He'll be on the ballot, yeah.
Right. Maybe not top 3, but like a top 5, maybe.
Receive votes.
VJ Edgecombe, who's coming back to form, which is amazing.
Yeah,
I think
really
he'll be back into that Rookie of the Year conversation, right? Along with a Cooper Flagg or a Conkanepo or maybe even a Dylan Harper. We'll see. They just have such a great roster. And even Jared McCain. Jared McCain is coming back to form, right? We talk about Joel Embiid, who's ramping up, and most of his ramp up is happening off the court. Jared McCain, his ramp up is happening on the court, right? He actually played both games of the back-to-back, which is crazy.
And he played 30 minutes against the Mavericks, that's a lot.
And he's been pretty productive. And by the way, I also want to mention, speaking of Jared McCain, I talked a couple episodes ago about possibly trading Jared McCain just to get rid of Paul George. I know my father listens to the podcast, and I have not told Hav about this beforehand, by the way. He's hearing the story for the first time. For the holidays, he actually bought me a Jared McCain jersey before hearing the episode where I mentioned this, and he was ready just to rip it up. Not literally, but
yeah, he wanted to make sure he was looking for the receipt.
he was so mad that he bought the jersey, and I made those comments. So I take it back. I'm sorry.
He's going to return it for a Paul George jersey now.
I have it now. I have the jersey.
Oh, you already have it. All right, it's secured. You're good.
I love the jersey. It's amazing, but it's just was so funny. I'm sorry. I'm a Sixers fan.
We were just talking shop. We were just giving hypotheticals.
Yeah. Playing 2K. I'm Daryl Morey. I'm using Chat GPT, AI, whatever the case might be. No, but I just thought that was so funny. But Jared McCain, I mean, he's coming back to form, and because of the guard rotation, Quentin Grimes is kind of getting a backseat a little bit, which makes sense because
I'm okay with that. Yeah,
I'm okay with that. Quentin Grimes is not a great player, especially in the fourth quarter. He's not really playing at all, which again, I think is the right move.
Yeah, because he could be a headache, especially when there's late game situations in a close game.
Yeah, Nick Nurse was literally drawing plays for Quentin Grimes at the end of games, and it wasn't working at all. And this is not just for the present, but this is also for the future, because I don't believe that Quentin Grimes is going to be on the roster next season. You're going to have Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, and Jared McCain for the next several years, hopefully for the long run, right? Those are going to be your 3 guards. So if these 3 can gain chemistry, because Nick Nurse now is actually putting out lineups with Jared McCain, Maxey, and Edgecombe.
Yeah, he's playing a little small and letting all 3 guards play at the same time, which can only help him.
And I think is working great, right? And they're just getting so many contributions. I mean, one of the things I want to talk about with that Knicks game, which I was just so funny to me and so ironic. That Knicks game was so bizarre that you had like Mitchell Robinson looking like prime Shaq. He had like 21
16 rebounds. What are we talking about?
But not even just that. That wasn't even like the strangest part. That he shot 7 of 8 from the free throw line. This dude stinks at shooting free throws. I mean, looking right now, he shoots 68.4% from the free throw line.
Yeah, I know the fans kind of give him like a Bronx cheer every time he goes up and actually makes one.
So you had that going on the Knicks side of things. And then you have the Sixers side of this, which I've talked so much crap about Andre Drummond for the last year. He shot 3 of 4 from 3 that game. I mean, what is happening?
What world do we live in where Andre Drummond is like chucking up threes at a steady pace and making them?
I mean, even against the Dallas Mavericks, Adem Bona made a 3. Like we're in a world where we have Andre Drummond and Adem Bona shooting threes. Those 2 are shooting threes before Ben Simmons did it.
Welcome to 2025, man. It's a weird NBA season, I'll tell you that.
And at first I was like, every time Drummond tries to take a 3, I was screaming, no, no, no. Now, when he's in that corner, at this point, just take it.
Just take it. Yeah, just throw it up. It's one of them bound to go in.
When he's at the top of the key, I think those are the worst shots because
he's trying to be Embiid. Yeah.
He's airballing it every single time. Like, and Embiid makes them pretty often. He's not like a phenomenal 3-point shooter, but I think he's average, maybe a little bit above average in terms of 3-point shooting. I'm talking about Embiid, not Drummond,
especially for his size. Oh yeah, no, yeah.
I mean, Drummond I want to pull up his numbers this season. He's shooting.
Say, what's he even shooting from three? What are his numbers looking like?
I'm not kidding you. This is not Wikipedia. This is legit information. This is 41.7% from three.
From three?
From three.
Oh my God. What's he shooting from the field?
52.8, which,
so 50. Yeah, that's a little bit lower. But if you're shooting 41% from three, I mean, that's like Brook Lopez style.
Well, like that's around what Drummond would average from the field anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Because, he was never taking jumpers. I mean, in Detroit,
everything's around the basket. Yeah.
Right. So that's why this is just so mind-blowing to me. And I don't know if it's the work he put in the offseason, or if it's Nick Nurse, or if it's a combination of both, or maybe it's influence from maybe working with Embiid now that he's healthy and learning some of those skills of being able to shoot threes as a big guy. Same thing with the Dembona. Like, it's just so mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, this is nuts. Maybe he realized, man, I don't want to be in a place like Brooklyn or Chicago anymore. Maybe I can just show them I have a little bit left in the tank and I could be on a productive team like Philly.
Well, the game's evolving, right? And everyone shoots threes now. I mean, and I don't think he should go away from being a great rebounder. I mean, that game in particular, he had 14 points and 13 rebounds. So he's still doing what you need Andre Drummond to do. But hey, if he has a 3-point shot in him, great. Like that's amazing. He's basically turning into a taller version, and I've compared him to PJ Tucker in the past. I mean, he's a taller version of PJ Tucker, who's a way better rebounder, and that's been his shtick his whole career, being one of the best rebounders we've ever had in the game.
And the thing I like about Drummond too is that whether he's playing 20 minutes a night or 31 minutes a night, like you don't really hear him. Like he'll do whatever role Nurse tells him. If you're saying, "Hey man, we need you to start today because Bona's in trouble," or because we don't have Joe. Like I feel like this year more than in years past, he's really stepped up and taken advantage of that extra playing time.
He has. And again, I gave him a lot of crap, especially for what he did in Orlando. But after that point, I think he started to, figure it out again. You need Drummond at this point.
Oh, absolutely.
The Sixers have accepted, and I think it's the right move to go. Joel Embiid, when he comes in, we'll figure it out. Which is tough because the offense and defense just need to revolve around Embiid.
Mm-hmm.
Like Paul George, for example, Paul George can just kind of slide right in, and he's been pretty phenomenal this year. And like me thinking back to the whole Paul George and McCain trading, like honestly, I think the Paul George signing, and I'm saying this right now, my opinion could change at the end of the season, or if he gets injured tomorrow, we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But right now, I think, and I thought this at the time, right? When they first signed Paul George, I was very psyched. But seeing him last season and seeing what happened in the offseason, Paul George is a great signing for the Sixers. I wouldn't say that necessarily for the Joel Embiid extension. I still think that was a mistake for now.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Until he shows that he can play a little bit more steadily, then yeah, it's definitely an overpay and definitely a miscalculation.
But Paul George, when he is on the floor, which so far this season, he's been on the floor pretty often, except for back-to-backs. Right. Mm-hmm. I saw a comment that's like, okay, Jared McCain played for back-to-backs. Why isn't Paul George, who his surgery wasn't
20 years old?
Yeah, it's the age, it's the injury history,
the miles on the legs and the knees. Yeah, like he just has so much more wear and tear so many games played.
So it's like apples and oranges. I mean, Jared McCain, especially if he's coming off the bench, Paul George, he's starting. His role is a lot larger than McCain's. It's just totally different. But that's what I'm saying. Like, this team is just so stacked. And when Kelly Oubre and Trendon Watford return, it's just going to be a whole different ball game. And
yeah, the bench is they're going to add length to the bench. They're going to add even more pieces to add in.
And especially with this team who stinks in the third quarter still. I mean, that Dallas Mavericks game, they scored 23 points in the third quarter. They allowed Dallas to have 35 points. But I will say they are, I believe, one of, if not the best fourth quarter team in the entire league. They scored 30 points, and the Mavericks, they had 17. So you put Kelly Oubre, who I don't think he's a great basketball player in terms of IQ, but he's a guy that creates a lot of energy. So having him come off the bench, I don't want to start him, but having him come off the bench, I think could only help the Sixers, and having Watford's defense, and he can play make a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think that's only going to make the Sixers even better. Again, having Paul George, having Joel Embiid, and having those players in your roster. This might be the most stacked Sixers teams we've gotten in a long time, especially in the Joel Embiid era. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, we always play the caveat of if they're healthy, of course.
Yeah.
But like, even if the way they're managing it now, I kind of like it more than what we've seen in the past couple of years, where they're being a little bit more up in front with us. They're telling, I mean, Joe, maybe he should have played against the Knicks. I know it was illness, but like, if he's going to be healthy in March, and I mean, they may not play back to backs, that's fine. But if they're healthy in March, they're getting their rhythms, they have their final team after the deadline, they know who their roster is. This definitely has the most upside of any team since probably the Jimmy Butler and Redick and that whole crew.
Yeah, but even their bench wasn't great.
And then what they weren't as deep. It was just that whoever was on the court. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. And with the playoffs, I mean, there won't be back-to-backs. And I believe, assuming health, right? But that's what we got to do every time. But even if Embiid isn't at 100%, he still would play every game. I mean, we forget that New York Knicks series. I mean, he was on one leg and he had half a face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's had so many freak injuries happen.
He averaged
Kuminga
like
and
30
Fultz
points.
And yeah, still, even with all that, yep.
So I think he can be dominant, and he's learned how to play behind Maxey. I mean, Tyrese Maxey against the Dallas Mavericks. Let me just say, Maxey and VJ, you know how many points they combined for?
Oh, gotta be like what, 60?
64 points. I mean, Maxey had 38 and VJ had 26. Like this is where we're at right now, is we have one of the most dominant backcourts in the entire NBA. Like maybe the only comparison I have is Luka and Reeves, maybe.
Yeah.
We look at a team like Cleveland. I mean, they barely play together in terms of Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. That team's never healthy. So
they're still not healthy.
They're still not healthy, which is why they've been struggling all season with all their injuries, with their stars, with the role player, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, the Sixers have a chance, even with Embiid being kind of wishy-washy in terms of his health, where he can be held out for a game or two. Now, will he play against the Brooklyn Nets tomorrow night on Tuesday? We'll see. I don't know. I think it's likely that he's going to come back very soon. I haven't seen the injury report yet. I don't know what the status is on Embiid yet.
You would hope with 3 days rest, he would come back, and play.
I think there's a huge chance, especially the Brooklyn Nets. How much are you going to be playing?
True. You would hope they'd be sitting by the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I know. I think it's going to be a lot lighter of a load to make that happen. So I think the Sixers have a huge chance in making something happen. We'll see, though. I think I want to talk about here before we end the show today. I want to talk about all-star selections, because the all-star game,
it's coming up
in February. It's coming up, but the voting just opened up, and I thought it'd be fun, just kind of seeing an early reaction of my list that I put together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to list the players that I have in both the East and the West. I'll start with the East just because why not? The Sixers.
Of course.
And remember, there's only 12 players that get accepted.
So they're going to be snubs.
Conference. So they're going to be snubs. There are great players on bad teams. I get it. So there are probably going to be changes. We'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So for the East, I'll obviously start off with Tyrese Maxey. Maxey is the only Sixer that I have on this list, by the way, because obviously Embiid hasn't been healthy. Paul George, he hasn't played at all-star level. He's played phenomenal for his role.
No, that's fair.
And then, VJ, they're not going to give it to a rookie. That's not going to happen. So Tyrese Maxey, easily, it's going to happen. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. The next one,
and sorry to cut you off, but the All-Stars now, is it positionless, or is it still the 2 front court, 3 back court, or I think they took the center out for sure. So now it might be just be front court, back court.
I think it's just front court, back court.
Okay, cool. Okay, so he would be one of the guards for the starting for the East. You're saying
he would be one of the guards, and
okay.
Again, there have been changes, so maybe it's not. We'll see. I know there's the reserves are going to be a little bit different. None of these are like starters or anything like that. I didn't even think of it. I just 12
Oh, so you're
people,
just listing whoever you see your 12 representatives. Okay, I like that. People. My fault. Yep, I like it.
You're all good. So I got Maxey as number one. Number two, I'll go with the Boston Celtics. Jaylen Brown, you got to do it.
Yeah, he's brought them back from the dead.
And we'll talk a little bit at the end about the Celtics here, but Jaylen Brown is the reason why the Celtics are the number 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. I thought they were going to be terrible. And even Jason Tatum might return here. I saw a report that he is definitely coming back this season, which we'll see if that remains true. I mean, do you think, by the way, if Jason Tatum does come back, do you think that would make sense?
Just because of how wide open the East is, and we've talked about it all season. I mean, there's always the risk of re-injury, but if he's a superstar level kid in his prime, and he's telling you, I'm good. The doctors are telling you I'm good. This is their window in the East, in my opinion. You may not take down OKC or whoever comes out of that West, but you got to take advantage of the time you have now. So I think that it may be an easy situation where it's around March. They give him, 14, 15 games to come back and get his feet wet. But we've seen Tatum. I mean, he's one of the top players in the world, especially when it comes down to the crunch time in the playoffs. So if I'm a Celtics fan, I'm ecstatic. If I'm an NBA fan, I'm a little nervous because we've seen Boston and what they can do when they're 100%. Right. So I grit my teeth and go, congrats. But man. I mean, I would do it if I was him and if I were them, but as a Sixers fan, I don't want to see him, obviously, as long as I can.
Yeah. And Jaylen Brown, he is a finals MVP. And I think he's showing the entire world as to why that's the case, right?
And that he's a 1. Yeah.
Yep. No Tatum, no problem, right? I will make sure we are okay. So when Jason Tatum does come back, we're all good to go. And I was shocked in particular just because they lost a lot of pieces. In particular, they don't have a true like power forward or center because they lost guys like Kristaps Porzingis, Luke Cornett, Al Horford, right? They lost Drew Holiday as well in free agency. Well, actually, they traded him for Anthony Simons. So I just didn't know how that was going to work. But like guys like Keita, he's been very good for them. So Jaylen Brown, I got to put on there. Number 3 is obvious that they're the number 1 seed in the East. You gotta go Cade Cunningham. I mean, this dude is triple-double threat every single night. I mean, Detroit, they were the laughing stock of the NBA a couple of years ago. Got to go with Cade. After that, I do have 2 Knicks players. I'll go Brunson and Cat.
They earned it.
They've earned it. Pretty self-explanatory. Number 6, first-time All-Star here. Now, this team isn't great. They're pretty mediocre. I think they had a better start. They've beaten the Sixers both times, but I'm going Jalen Johnson.
Oh, I love him.
I mean, this dude I think he had a 36-point, almost a triple-double last night against the Bulls. I think it was like 36, 11, and 9. I mean, this dude is crazy. And Trae Young just came back, by the way. But even with Trae Young back, the dude is still hooping.
He may be their best overall player, believe it or not. I've always been a fan of his game, and I've always wished the Sixers could get a guy like, in the mold of Jalen Johnson, Scotty Barnes, like that just slasher wing guy who can put up numbers, who can rebound, play defense, facilitate. They just do everything. So you won't hear me argue about Jalen Johnson.
Yeah, it's at this point, and I was like, okay, maybe it's a fluke. It's the beginning of the year. There's injuries, Trae Young, Porzingis, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker's been phenomenal this year too. But Jalen Johnson, he's been leading the charge. They beat the Sixers twice.
Yeah, and he had a triple-double in one of those games.
Yeah, so it's just easy decision for me. After that, again, I have him at number 7, but things could change. I'll put Donovan Mitchell there because he's still playing great. He's still playing at an all-star level. I think out of all of their stars, he's been the healthiest, which, he's had a lot of injury issues in the past. This season, it hasn't been much of an issue at all. So I'll put Donovan Mitchell. Number 8, another first-time all-star. Miami Heat storming Norman. I'm going Norman Powell.
That's your boy.
I love Norman Powell, what he's doing this year. I mean, the questions for the Miami Heat of, okay, we're trading away Jimmy Butler. He's forcing his way out. Who are we getting to replace that star power. Like we traded for Andrew Wiggins. He's had a pretty decent season, Wiggins, but who's that number one guy? It's Norman Powell, right? Especially with Tyler Hero being out. I mean, he just recently came back, although he's still in and out of the lineup.
Yeah, he always has issues.
But Norman Powell easily. I did put, and this might be a controversial take here, but I also put Bam Adebayo on the list because I think he's still having a great season. Still think he's putting up all-star numbers. Plus, I don't have like pretty much any other center other than Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, it's tough to get big guys in the East. You're right.
So I think Bam is still playing. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if he didn't make it, but I think Bam definitely deserves to be there as well. Number 10, I gotta give credit to Toronto. I'm going Brandon Ingram.
Oh, BI, nice.
I had to pick one. I was like, do I go BI or do I go Scotty Barnes? But I went BI. I think he's having a bounce back year because he's just been so injured, especially with the Pelicans. Maybe it's just a Pelicans thing, who knows? And then obviously when he got traded, he didn't play with the Raptors last season. But he's come in and the Raptors have been really good. I mean, they're the 6th seed, they're 17-13. And I think a lot of that has to do with Brandon Ingram. They wanted a star. They wanted to go all in, which is why they traded for Brandon Ingram. And they didn't have to give up much. They gave up a couple role players like Bruce Brown and like Kelly Olynyk. So Brandon Ingram, I think deserves to be. I think he's only been an all-star one time. Give it to him.
I like it.
He's had a great year. And then after that, number 11, I got to give some love to the Orlando Magic. I got to go Franz Wagner.
Okay, I like it.
I'm not going Paulo because he's been out a bunch.
The injuries, yeah, it's tough.
And even when he's been healthy, I don't think he's been as great as he's been in the past. Franz Wagner deserves some love. He definitely is a future star in this league, and it's got to start with this season.
I like it. Yeah, Franz Wagner, I've always been a fan of his game too. And Orlando, they've come back from the dead a little bit themselves, so he's led the charge. I like that.
Yeah, and then my last slot.
Dun.
The last slot has to go to Josh Giddey, in my opinion.
Okay.
Right. And I know not everyone loves Josh Giddey for different things in the past that were just rumors.
We're just talking ball. We're just talking basketball. That's all.
But if I'm talking basketball only, right?
Yep.
The dude averages like a triple double, right? The Chicago Bulls have had a phenomenal year to start. I think, they've simmered down a lot. They've lost a lot of games, but Josh Giddey is the reason why they kind of came back into the conversation because he became kind of that number one guy. Now, do I think Josh Giddey is a number one guy on a championship team? No,
probably not.
Probably more like a 2, maybe a third option, right? Second, third option.
It's still not bad.
But I think, when you talk about like in the league, who is as close to a point guard, you got Cade Cunningham and you got Josh Giddey. They both play like a true point guard. We don't have many of those anymore.
Yeah, they're pass first. They want to facilitate and get everyone involved before they're taking their shots.
Right. So that's why I'm giving credit to Josh Giddey. So just to recap, the 12 players I said in the East: Tyrese Maxey, Jaylen Brown, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, Jalen Johnson, Donovan Mitchell, Norman Powell, Bam Adebayo, Brandon Ingram, Franz Wagner, and Josh Giddey. Any changes? You like that? Like just for the East so far?
Just off the top of my head, the first omission that popped out to me, but then I before I even say his name, I know you left him off because of games played.
Yeah.
Giannis.
That's the only reason why.
Literally, but then I looked up and I was like, oh, I think he only has like 15 games played on the season. So it makes so much sense where, yeah, Giannis should be omitted. And Milwaukee, no one else in Milwaukee has made much of an all-star impact, I should say. So I'm looking through all. I mean, Scotty Barnes is my guy. I would probably try to arm wrestle you to get him on the ballot somewhere, but you've already mentioned him and you've given him his flowers. So, I mean, you look around the league, the other players that are really like performing at a high level are on really bad teams. Michael Porter Jr., like Kevin Porter, Alex Sarr, maybe you give Jalen Duren a little bit of love just because he's on the number 1 seed and they've been so good.
I thought about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like he may be like the just missed, but I love your list in the East. So you won't hear anything from me.
Yeah. Giannis, I couldn't even consider it literally just because of the games played. Plus he's looking to get out of there. I assume we're going to hear about that very, very soon.
Oh, that's going to ramp up after the new year for sure.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens, but just because he hasn't played, he's probably not going to be playing for I don't even know if he'll play again until the All-Star break. We'll find out what happens with his injury. But that's the East. Now the West is really tough. And the West could go in many different ways because fan voting. Because
you got a lot of veteran old guys that, regardless of what they're doing this year, they're just going to look at the name and say, "Oh, put him in."
You know what? I'll say my list first. I won't even say who I left off, and
okay.
I'll see if you bring this person up after. But I left a few people off. This was tough. Obviously, I'll get the easy one of the way. Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
that was easy. The dude's incredible. He's probably gonna. He might win MVP this year if it isn't for the other guy. But I did put Luka, and obviously Shea's the other. They're both on there.
There's like 3 or 4 from the West that you could just automatically throw in there, and nobody would bat an eye. We know who they are.
Yeah, Luka, Shea. But I did put one more Laker on there. Okay. I put Austin Reeves as a first time.
I would say it wasn't LeBron.
No, yeah, and I'll get into that later. And the only reason why LeBron would get it is just because of fan voting.
Yep, or they're like maybe like a legacy kind of thing where they give him a faux all-star appearance.
But he hasn't announced this is his last season, so I don't know
True.
about that.
So why would they even do that? Yeah.
Like I know they did that with Dwayne Wade and Dirk a couple years ago.
That's what I thought of. Yeah.
But again, LeBron hasn't announced this is his last season. And
absolutely.
Hey, do that with Chris Paul then. No, I'm kidding.
True. Yeah. Hey, he's got the same legacy. Yep.
But I'm going Austin Reeves. The dude has showed up this year. That's why, and I've made jokes about it in the past. It's just criminal how the Dallas Mavericks couldn't come up with Austin Reeves when you're giving up Luka Doncic, because now you have both on that team just playing at a high caliber level. And that's why I compared like Maxey and VJ to Luka and Austin Reeves. He definitely deserves it. Give him the All-Star nod. Give him that first time All-Star. Because I think Lakers fans, they're just so like stoked to have these two guys on their team. They're going to be the future. And once they add another guy, it's just, they're going to be unstoppable in the future.
Watch out. Yep.
Watch out. I mean, we saw what happened with the Dallas Mavericks when they went to the finals. Like they added guys like, PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford, and they made it to the finals. You basically replaced Kyrie Irving with Austin Reeves. I mean, they could get back there soon. After that, I did put that this one might be a hot take. We'll see what you think about this. I put Shea on there, but I also put Chet Holmgren on there.
Okay, 2. I like it. 2 from the Thunder. Talk to me about Chet.
Well, first of all, the Thunder, they're the best team ever right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're playing like, yeah.
They don't lose games. I think they've only lost, 4 games at this point. Chet Holmgren has stepped up as that second option because Jalen Williams, I obviously left him off this list because he hasn't played enough.
Yeah, he took a couple weeks for him to even find the court.
So that's why I went with Chet, because he stepped up as that second option. Right. I think he's really developed his game, right? He saw the progress that like Victor Wembanyama was making. And he said, okay, I need to get to that level, especially if we want to keep winning championships.
100%.
And I think he's done that this season. I think he deserves that nod. All right. After Chet, we'll get another obvious one out of the way. Jokic, right? I mean,
I was going to say it's a matter of time before he gets named.
Right. So yeah, Nikola Jokic, he's going to be another MVP candidate this year. Will he win? I don't think so. I mean, again, I know there are people that will throw his name out there, vote for him. Is it deserved? Obviously, yes. Jokic is, a walking triple-double. They win games, the Denver Nuggets. Yeah, obviously. Okay. After that, I also, speaking of the Denver Nuggets, I'm finally going to give love because this player, Jamal Murray, what is going on? Why hasn't Jamal Murray been an all-star before?
It was like the debate that Dame Lillard would always have. Like, how come he's not an all-star? Well, he's playing with Steph Curry and Chris Paul and everybody else in the West. So I'm glad you're giving him his flowers this time around.
Right. And he's played with like CJ McCollum, like when we're talking about Dame, right? CJ McCollum was never an all-star and he was putting up big numbers, right? It was like, well, why isn't CJ McCollum? Well, the Denver Nuggets, they win games. They won a championship. Jamal Murray has been a beast in the postseason. He's a beast right now. Give him that first-time all-star. Like, it would just be, I feel like it's disrespectful to Jamal Murray's career. If by the end of his career, he didn't get one all-star selection.
Come on.
But and this season, I think he deserves it more than any other. I think his numbers are the best out of.
He's putting up 25, 7, and 4 right now. He's putting up phenomenal numbers.
Right. So that's why you got to give it to Jamal Murray. Number 7, I got to give it to a Spur. but I'm gonna go De'Aaron Fox over Victor Wembanyama. The only reason why, and this could change, and I love Wemby, right? The only reason why I'm saying is I was like literally going back and forth with this. De'Aaron Fox has played more games. He's been fantastic with Wembanyama out. And now that Wemby's back, he's coming off the bench as of right now. Right?
Yeah, they have the minutes restriction on them. They're usually playing like 20, 25 minutes.
So, especially with all the injuries that the Spurs have dealt with, right? You had Dylan Harper that's been out. You had Stephon Castle who's been out. De'Aaron Fox stepped back in from injury, and he's just dominated, right? And the Spurs, I believe right now they're the number 2 seed in the Western Conference, right? So that says it in and of itself that De'Aaron Fox has stepped into that role. I think he deserves it. Now, if Victor Wembanyama gets it over De'Aaron Fox, would that shock me? No, right?
No. Yeah, just because of how the voting process is.
Right. So the only reason why I'm saying that is because De'Aaron Fox has played more games and he's been super productive and is one of the reasons why the team is winning games. So once Victor Wembanyama is starting again, the minutes restriction is lifted. Maybe it's different. We'll find out. But as of right now, recording this at the end of December, I'm going De'Aaron Fox over Victor Wembanyama. And also there's only 12 slots. After that, Anthony Edwards, self-explanatory. He's basically Michael Jordan. So,
if you ask him, he'll tell you.
I mean, the Timberwolves are still a great team. So you got to give it to Anthony Edwards. The next 2 slots I gave to the Houston Rockets. I gave to both Kevin Durant and I gave to Alfred Şengün.
Yeah.
And I've said this before. I believe it's criminal to say one or the other is the best player. I think they are both equally the best player. Right. And the numbers don't necessarily say it all because obviously Şengün is like a baby version of Nikola Jokic, right? And Kevin Durant is that score that they desperately needed, the score that they wanted from Jalen Green last season and in seasons prior. So I'm giving it to both. I mean, it's disrespectful kicking Kevin Durant out of there. I mean, he's still a dominant scorer at his age, and Alpi, he's playing great as well. Number 11, I'll give to Steph Curry because he's still playing great, right? Even if the Warriors aren't a phenomenal team this year, I'm going to give it to Steph Curry because I just think he deserves it, and we're going to miss him when he's gone. And the fact that he's still playing at this level, he's been healthy. It's got to be Steph Curry. And then the last slot, I went back and forth with this. Right now, I'm going to go Devin Booker, but I'm going back. I'll stick Devin Booker for right now because the Phoenix Suns have shocked me. I thought they were going to be one of the worst teams in the NBA, after what happened last season, and they gave up Bradley Beal, they gave up Kevin Durant, and I think the pieces they got back weren't particularly great. But you have players like Dylan Brooks who stepped up. Grayson Allen's had some decent games. Devin Booker's been playing phenomenal, even with everything that went on. Like he could have just checked out and said, "I'm done." It didn't work. No, I think he's still playing at an all-star level. The only player that I debated, by the way, before I get your reaction to this, was between Devin Booker and James Harden.
I was about to, you're lucky because that's what I was about to call you out for.
Because, and that's why I could go either way on that. So, like, if you're like, why'd you put Devin Booker in there and not James Harden? Like, you put either one in there and I would completely understand.
The lack of success from the Clippers, I mean, that doesn't help Harden's all-star case at all. And how bad they've looked. What
I held against him. That's literally the only reason. Yeah. Because I
can understand that.
And I know record isn't everything. I get it. But to call somebody an all-star on a 6-win team,
they're right? Like struggling to find wins, even with him playing so well. And I mean, that's probably a precursor of what everybody around him is doing, but still it's tough to award that kind of futility. You're right.
Because in a stacked Western Conference, when you can only pick 12 guys to be an all-star.
That's the thing. Yep. We said people were going to be left off.
I'm going to give it to, a player on one of the worst teams in the Western Conference. I just can't do it. Right. Because you could list a bunch of other players on bad teams. I mean, in the East, you mentioned Giannis, and, again, he's been injured and it's not his fault, but the Bucks haven't been great and he's been injured. Harden, he's been healthy, but it's just tough because of how bad the Clippers have been. So just to recap my list, I said Luka, I said Austin Reeves, SGA, Chet Holmgren, Jokic, Jamal Murray, De'Aaron Fox, Anthony Edwards, Kevin Durant, Alfred Şengün, Steph Curry, And then I ended with Devin Booker. But again, if you want to replace James Harden there, that's okay.
Yeah, feel free. No, I like your list a lot. You've covered all the bases in terms of the teams that are, at the top of the standings. Um, Guys I love are on teams that just aren't performing well enough, and they're not going to get the recognition like a James Harden or even like a Denny Avdija. Like I love Denny's game in Washington, and the fact that he's now able to flourish in Portland and be the main guy there. I think his game in the next 3 years, just watch out and watch how good he becomes, because that's a man. Like he's a young dude, but that guy is all man. Like he served in the military for his country. He's come over. Like watch out for Denny. But again, the Portland, they're so irrelevant, and they're always going to be irrelevant. So you can't really put him on an all-star team, in my opinion. But Devin Booker was probably the only bust out, but you already covered you covered your tracks with the James Harden explanation, so I'm good.
Yeah, again, that's the only one you could go either or on that one. Like there are guys like you could talk about like Utah, like Lauri Markkanen's playing in an all-star level. Keontae George has been phenomenal this year too. Like you
even like a Julius Randle started out playing bonkers in the first like 5 weeks of the year. Him and Ant were carrying Minnesota.
Yeah, and I left out like Amen Thompson. Like there are other players that I didn't include on this list. I didn't put both De'Aaron Fox and Wembanyama on the list. I could have done both. That's just the tough part about the Western Conference is there are so many players that can make this list. And that's why I've been wishing for years that they would just grow it to maybe even just 15, like 3 more guys can make the list in each conference. Like it just would make things so much better. And we'll see what happens with this, like East or what is it? It's USA versus the
US versus world. Yeah.
And I think it's a great idea in terms of like, it might make things interesting. Maybe it makes players play harder. But I don't know if it's going to necessarily work because it's different, the Olympics than, an all-star game.
Oh, it's completely different vibe, different energy, different motivation, 100%.
Also, you have these teams like when you're looking at when we were playing France in the finals there, like you had a couple NBA players there, but you also had players that weren't in the NBA. Like this was their championship, right? They're doing this for their country, right? That's what they have. And the players that were in the NBA, like a Victor Wembanyama or a Rudy Gobert, right? Like those guys have not won a championship before. Like that was their first chance to win something, right?
And their other guys were like a Yabu Sele, and they were role players. They weren't even like, household names.
Right. And a lot of the time that's how they get discovered, right? That's how Yabu Sele got signed with
a contract. Yep.
Right. So, that's just the difference. I don't know how well it's going to work. I mean, I'm super excited to see it. I mean, I watch the All-Star game every single year. I like watching some of the events, especially like the 3-point contest, the dunk contest.
Of course. Yeah. Their NBA Saturday is always fun.
Yeah. I mean, I hope like VJ Edgecombe is in the dunk contest this year.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I'm pitching that right now. I haven't said that yet. I hope VJ will do it because especially that dunk he had the other night, like just was mind blowing.
Oh, the putback.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Like
bouncy.
Stuff like you got to put him in there. Cause I don't know if at this point you're going to get like NBA stars. Like I know the popular names are like Ja or Zion. Like I don't know if you're going to get those guys to ever do the dunk contest. I don't know if you're going to get legitimate all-stars in there. I mean, I know what Jaylen Brown did it one year, but like Jaylen Brown's not known as a top tier level dunker.
No, for sure. And we don't even need I mean, look how good the Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon matchup was. Like they weren't necessarily all-star level top 20 guys, but they've made a name for themselves and had pretty good careers from it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would have made things interesting if, obviously not now that he's this old, but like if you had LeBron participate, maybe.
Oh, he should have done it at some point in his career.
Yeah,
man.
Obviously not now, but yeah.
No.
But I think that would have gotten more players excited because, you had players like, Vince Carter and Michael Jordan doing it back in the day. Like we don't really have that of who we look up to. Like we look up to in the dunk contest now being Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon or
Dwight Howard, Nate Robinson, like Blake Griffin, those kind of guys.
Or Mac McClung now, I guess.
Oh God, yeah, McClung. Yeah, exactly.
I swear, if I see Mac McClung in there, that.
Hey, he put Delaware on the map.
I don't even know what to do. But we have games coming up. I mean, we have a game against the Brooklyn Nets tomorrow, so that's going to be interesting. I mean, We'll see.
And then they start, and then after this, tried to cut you off. After this matchup against Brooklyn at home, then they start their Disney on Ice tour, where they go on the road to the West Coast because Disney on Ice takes over the Xfinity Mobile Arena. So every year, for fans that don't know, right at this stretch, it's usually from the 26th to about the 2nd of the new year, they're always on the West Coast. So just keep an eye on that because the building's not available, obviously. So those West Coast trips are always tough. The first game out there, and then the last game before we come back, I think it's against Denver. So just be on the lookout. There may be some blowouts coming up, but the West Coast trip's a little bit tough. But this is the time they need to really kind of collect and find who they're going to be in the second half of the season.
I also have one more question for you, too.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about two players in particular and what the Sixers should do with them. Because you have a player like Dominick Barlow, who's been starting pretty much every single night, right? And even
you look player.
Yeah, and you look at his game against the Dallas Mavericks. He had 21 points, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
He's a two-way player, as you mentioned. Same thing with a player like Jabari Walker. Now, he's not starting, but he's a main rotation piece. The Sixers have one open roster spot. And at some point, you got to give them a contract, right? They're not just going to waive them, because normally that's what you got to do when their games are up as a two-way player. You either got to sign them to a contract or you got to waive them. They're not waiving them, by the way. So the question is, because they have – this is the thing I still find hilarious about the Sixers, because they're playing so well, is they have two players that just sit there that are wasting roster spaces. And I'm talking about Kyle Lowry and Eric Gordon. I have a lot of respect for both those players.
Great careers.
And at least you could convince me with Kyle Lowry, right? Kyle Lowry has won a championship with Nick Nurse. He knows his system better than anyone else, right? So, and if you want a mentor, I think Kyle Lowry makes sense. Hav, can you tell me why Eric Gordon's on this roster?
The only thing that can come to my mind is that he has history with Daryl Morey. I mean, they had history in Houston together. I don't know how close they are, but that's the only logical reason I can think of. He's a 37-year-old guard whose shot's gone and he doesn't have his legs under him. So I don't know. Because
I had to check. He only played 5 games this season, right? So it's one of those things of, why is he there? What does he do for this team? Are they using him maybe as a trade piece in the future? Like, if they're trying to trade one of their, semi-bigger contracts, like maybe they're trying to package Kelly Oubre with something to get an extra piece. Maybe Eric Gordon gets thrown in there. But other than that, like, is he there to be a mentor? Like, how many mentors do they need at this point?
And even if they want to trade him, he's only making $2.2 million. He's making the vet minimum. So it's not like he's going to move the needle that significantly in terms of value or, dollar signs.
So my question to you, and I think you kind of agree with where I'm heading with this, is should they, because I believe they should sign both of those players. I believe they should sign both Barlow and Walker.
Mm-hmm.
Should they just waive Gordon? Should they waive Lowry as well? Because the question is, should they also keep that roster spot open in case they need another player? Maybe they get another player at the buyout market who's a little bit younger. Whatever the case might be, what do you think they should do with that?
No, I kind of like the route you're going down. I would rather keep Lowry over Gordon just because of the experience and the familiarity with Nick Nurse. The only other option I see you really going is maybe like a Janai Broom. I mean, I know he's on the active roster. He was your second round pick, so you do have him signed for a little bit. I don't know if you necessarily can waive him. Somebody would probably pick him up and send him to the G League. He has been playing for the Blue Coats a little bit here and there. And I saw guys like Bona and Edwards getting burned with Delaware too. But I would rather have guys like Edwards and Bona with the youth and with their ability to help the team now on the roster than I don't want to see one of those young guys get cut or lose their spot because they're going to keep Lowry or Gordon.
Yeah, actually, you brought up a good point. I didn't think of this. Janai Broom, I honestly might see if I could cut both Eric Gordon and Janai Broom.
Yeah, why not, right?
Because Janai Broom, I'll be honest, right? When they first drafted him, I wasn't like overly ecstatic about it.
Yeah, he had the resume at Auburn, and we recognized his name because of what he did in March, but it was never really a draft profile.
I mean, he's 6'10". He can barely move. I mean, he moves the ball at a decent rate, I think, which is fine. But overall, he just doesn't look like an NBA player. he's not particularly good. I mean, he's only played 6 games. He's averaged 1.7 points, 20% from the field as a guy that doesn't shoot the ball and he doesn't jump. I mean, 20% from the field.
It's bad.
That's why I actually might consider waiving both of them and keeping Kyle Lowry, as you said, for that mentor role.
Oh, Lowry over Janai, 100%. Even if Lowry never plays another minute, this what he can do in the huddle and in the locker room for those guys. And he's been there. He's almost 40 years old. He's been in the league a while. So Janai Broom gives you little to nothing, just what you said, size. But if he's not even utilizing that size, what's it matter? And his contract's cheap enough where you can cut him and not really have any kind of cap ramifications. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I would prefer them having an open roster spot. Why? Because
the flexibility for sure.
Flexibility, but especially with the center position, because again, we don't know what's going to happen with Joel Embiid, right? And what if Embiid gets injured and Drummond gets injured, right? So you have Bona and who else? You can't rely on Janai Broom. So maybe you find a piece in the buyout market or in a trade, or maybe there's still a free agent out there. Who knows? That could help this team even just a little bit. I think any center that's still available right now is more helpful to this team than Janai Broom is.
Yeah, literally, even them coming off the street, like coming right off the couch. I would take somebody with at least somewhat of a resume, as long as it's not like a Jahlil Okafor or somebody like that. Like give somebody with a little bit of a resume and like that shows you they've been, a backup center before. Like I don't want a DeAndre Jordan or anything like that. But if you give me somebody that's like, I'm trying to think off the top of my head who I would take, but like a Diabate or something like that. I don't know. Just I need a veteran center that can help out Drummond and take some of his minutes.
Yeah, I don't even have a specific name in mind, but like, it's just good to have that open roster spot just in case.
Just in case, yep.
And like, I don't want to risk it by just waiving one player, signing both of them to a contract, and then the Sixers have an issue if they run into injuries towards the end of the season. So that's what I would do. Gordon, see ya. I think he, might be helpful to another team that maybe needs just a veteran, maybe needs a mentor. But the fact that you have all these older players already, you already have mentors, and even Joel Embiid's a mentor, but you have Paul George, who's a mentor. You have Kyle Lowry, right? Even Tyrese Maxey has basically become a mentor at this point.
Seriously, even at 25 years old, he has the experience for it. Absolutely.
So, that's what I think with that. That's the one big decision they have to make. And I'm sure they'll make a trade at the deadline. We'll talk more about that as we get closer, but that's why I wanted to bring this up, because we're starting to get to the point of like, they're starting a two-way play every single night. When is this going to end? Like, when are we going to actually make him an actual player on this roster? Because he is. I mean, arguably, he's probably one of the best two-way players to ever play in the NBA.
Yeah, seriously. And I have to look at the history of when they actually started issuing those out, but he's been phenomenal.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I'm excited to see what happens against the Brooklyn Nets. We'll see if Joel Embiid plays. I think they're going to continue win games. Thank you so much for watching and listening to episode 6 of Second Round Syndrome. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. I'm DJ Sports Zone. We got Hob Harris here, and we will see you next time. Happy holidays.
10-9-8.